how to make hard decisions in life so that you have zero regrets at the end of the day. In this video, I'm going to introduce my so-called 90-year rule that I follow personally in order to make those hard decisions and have no regrets when I run out of time. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erkka Suvanto. Some of you call me EJ. I'm the guy on social media who wants to build a legacy, build a brand, and pass on all the life and business lessons to each and every one of you. I have been able to pivot my business career several times, faced all my personal demons and fears, and been able to make very hard decisions following a very simple three-step process. And that particular process is something I'm going to introduce to you today. According to studies, 76% of the people in our retirement homes, when interviewed, say that the things that we didn't do are the things that we regret the most. Not the mistakes, not the decisions, not the risks that we took, but the inaction is the biggest regret. Why is it? Isn't it ironic that we have all these opportunities during our everyday life? We talk about several things, but yet we fail to take action. To me, it's all about the cost of action versus the cost of inaction. As I promised, I will now introduce my simple process that I personally follow that has 3 steps that you can copy and use in your life. And I'll guarantee you, this has helped me tremendously to make those hard short-term decisions in order to avoid long-term regret. Here's the dilemma we are facing. 76% of the people regret those things that we didn't do when we had time. So that the key question is how to avoid it. What is it that we need to do to avoid this most important and most expensive thing in our life, which is the long-term regret? Because to me, I'm always willing to take that short-term pain, whether it lasts a month, a year, or 5 years, over that long-term regret when I'm in my deathbed, running out of time, and realizing that, shit, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I never got to see how good I truly was. So this video, this process is to answer that question. And now to my steps, to my process. As you probably already know, I like processes. To me, it's all about standardizing everything that you possibly can in life, whether it's your nutrition, your diet, your work, your business, entrepreneurship, everything can be standardized, turn into a predictable process. I'm a big believer in that. Call it boring or whatever you want to call it, but it truly works. This is no different. So again, dilemma is this: we regret things when we are out of time. The question is, how do we avoid it? Step number 1 is you visualize it. Here's what I do. I draw a line in my mind or on a piece of paper. This is short term, this is long term. And this here is basically the same as my deathbed moment. As brutal as it might sound, but I literally picture myself in my deathbed. And I ask myself 2 questions. I picture myself at 90, which is the same as the deathbed moment. And the step number 3 is I ask myself, question A, am I going to worry about this at 90? And question B is, am I going to regret this at 90? This is all I need to do, and this is all I need to know. Every decision is a compromise between short-term pain versus long-term regret. And this is the process that I follow, how I visualize it, and how I'm able to understand whether I should do something about certain topics or not. Let's walk through this. Step number 1, I visualize it. Any decision, let's say I'm in a bad relationship, I don't know what to do. Part of me tells me that this is comfortable, this is known, this is predictable. Even though it doesn't work, it would be easy for me to stay in this thing. Then it's about cost of action versus cost of inaction. What's the price tag between staying in that bad relationship versus leaving and looking at your long-term regret? If I'm able to put a price tag on both, the pain, let's say I want to leave the relationship. What's the pain like? Most likely it's going to take me 2 or 3 years of darkness. It's going to be hard. Am I able to deal with 2 or 3 years of hard times versus what's the price tag of long-term regret? If I'm able to put a price tag to both, understanding and knowing myself that I would never forgive myself at 90 if I knew that I had stayed in a relationship, for instance, that never worked. I wasted an additional 30 or 40 years that I could have spent somewhere else, either by myself or with somebody else who's a better fit. The same thing applies to starting a business. What if I don't like my corporate job? What's the cost of staying in that versus the cost of long-term regret? Then I picture myself at 90 and I ask myself, am I going to worry about this at 90? Let's say I have a topic in front of me. I worry about the next upcoming test. I'm a student, I'm in high school, I'm in college, and I worry about the next exams. I have 5 of them lined up for a week after next. Okay, this seems like the biggest thing in the whole world. I ask myself, am I going to worry about this thing, the grades from those tests, when I'm at 90? If the answer is no, and then there are 2 paths here. The answer is yes or no. If the answer is no, I'm not going to worry about it, then I literally force myself not to worry about it. I literally use scissors kind of in my head, in my mind, saying to myself that no matter what you have to do, find a way to cut those thoughts. This isn't something that you're going to worry about at 90. So therefore, do your best and the rest ignore. To me, focusing on the present moment, I've talked about past, present, and future. And to me, literally in my head, I'm kind of like using scissors. So I cut my thoughts to the past, to the present, and I focus only on the present moment. If the answer to question 3A is no, I'm not going to worry about it when I'm 90, I'll find a way to ignore it. If the answer is yes, I'm going to worry about this when I'm 90, and this is probably 1 out of maybe 100 things that's on our radar, maybe 1 out of 1,000. It's a very small percentage. But those rare things that I'm going to worry about at 90, then I'm going to do everything in my power to work on that goal. There are obviously different ways. If it's that test or something else, if it's a relationship that I want to stay in, then I find ways. I find therapy, I figure out a way to how to communicate with my partner better, and I have tools in my hand. I read books and I consult with every single specialist in my city or in my country to be able to fix this. It could be that it's not fixable, but then if this is something that I worry about when I'm 90, if I don't do something about it, then I'll find a way. Then question 3B, am I going to regret this thing at 90? Meaning, what if I stay in that relationship? And then again, 2 options. Yes, sorry, this is getting kind of tight here. Yes or no. If I'm not going to regret this at 90, then fine. But yes, if this is something I regret at 90, not leaving that bad relationship, then no matter how hard it is, short term, I literally forced myself to make that decision and enter that storm head first, head on, going into that dark forest without seeing my 2nd, 3rd, or 4th step. The only thing I have to see is my next step. I have to trust that the process will take care of itself. Even though there's no light at the end of the tunnel, knowing that the next step is enough. It's like building that bridge that you've never done before, and there are 100 steps. If I worry about the outcome, I feel overwhelmed. There's too many options, there's too much information. How do you fix anxiety? You fix that with decisions. You decide that you just focus on the next step, and that's all you worry about. Same thing here. If I know that I have to leave that bad relationship and just face the storm, and this might take 2 years versus the gigantic price tag of long-term regret when I'm in a deathbed, then I'll just find a way. But this is the process that I follow myself. Visualize, what does the pain look like? There's the short-term part, and then there's the long-term part. And deathbed is a vital part of number 2. I picture myself at 90. Well, this could be, hopefully with modern technology and medicine, maybe this is 110, hopefully. when I'm that age. But anyhow, I picture myself on my deathbed, and then I ask myself, am I going to worry about this particular topic at 90, or am I going to regret it at 90? Yes, no, yes, no. It's a simple decision-making tree. And then if the answer is yes, the regret part, then this is the hardest thing, but it's the short term only. And I think one of the hardest things for us humans is to understand that sometimes pain is a good thing. And people are so comfortable in their tiny little comfort zone that we have a hard time connecting short-term pain with long-term gain. Once we understand that nothing is forever, that 1 or 2 years of darkness is not going to last 10 or 20 years. So whatever we have now doesn't mean that it's forever. That helped me personally a lot. So understanding that short-term pain can equal long-term gain. Marrying the both and being comfortable with that short-term pain period is just so crucial for living a life where there are no regrets at the end of the day. Personally, if you ask me now at 48, if I regret anything in life, actually, honestly, I don't. I'm good at this because I'm able to put the price tag on both. The cost of action versus the cost of inaction. And my only goal, literally, going forward, is to live my life on my terms, which means that I'm able to live a life without any regrets. That when I'm 90 or 110, I can say the same thing I say today, that I have zero regrets. So hopefully this picture helps somebody in a similar situation who has to face a difficult decision. So ask yourself, what's the price tag of the both? And then 2 questions. Am I going to worry about this at 90, or am I going to regret? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to regret because I understand that this price tag is so much bigger than this, then just find a way. Push through. You'll be fine. I've done that several times, starting at 19 when I moved for the first time to a different country without ever been there or knowing the language really well. So there's scary things that we all do. But once we do them, we grow so much and we get so much better. That's all I had today, a shorter video. Hopefully this is concrete, you can get something out of this. And again, I highly appreciate your time watching my videos. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Again, thank you. And until next time.